Hello, and welcome to Problem Solving and Analysis. Now that we're into the course, and hopefully you got through some of your first week's assignments, and we're going to start diving into what this whole thing means around systems analysis and design. We get to kind of step into this a little bit, and in doing so, we'll talk about what that actually means. What you'll find is we're going to talk about that we're going to take a problem and do something with it. We're going to solve it, we're going to analyze it, and we're going to utilize critical thinking skills to do so. So objectives of this particular video is to walk you through the meaning of systems analysis and design, understand what a problem is and what opportunities are created from a problem. With that, advantages of a problem, what is problem solving, what is analysis, and what is critical thinking. Hopefully, by going through this video, you kind of get an idea of what we're talking about by systems analysis and design and what we're going to be doing throughout this course. Okay, so this is the beginning. Hopefully get some terms out of the way, and hopefully this will help you as we move forward. So what does systems analysis and design mean? Well, taking a definition right from the internet, it's the examination of a problem and the creation of its solution. I took that right from the internet because I liked that definition. It was perfect. It was very simple. We're going to examine a problem and we're going to create a solution. That's what systems analysis and design is all about. The systems analysis is effective when all sides of the problems are reviewed. Key point. That's what you'll be hearing from me quite a bit, looking at every aspect of the problem. That's the hard part of this course, okay? You can't read more about it. You just got to be able to do it. You got to drill down into the problem a little bit more to make sure we understand it. We'll talk about that a little bit this week, a little bit more in other videos, and of course, as the course progresses throughout the rest of the semester. The design piece then is most effective when more than one solution can be proposed. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to that part of the course, when we talk about generating solutions for these types of problems, okay? Mostly system development type problems. More than one solution is a really good idea. And there's a lot of reasons why. I don't want to give it away right now, so we'll talk about it a little bit later. But right now, that's what this whole goal is. So let's go a little bit deeper now, and let's talk about some of the words that we're kind of seeing in this particular slide. First, what is a problem? A problem is the difference between what is and what can or should be. Every once in a while, somebody comes up and says, I have a problem. There's a negative connotation to that, of course, when somebody says, I have a problem. Hey, Bob, I have a problem. Hey, Bill, I have a problem. It's never a good thing when somebody tells you they have a problem. But we as problem solvers, in a sense, sort of like that. Because, a problem for the most part is something that can be solved. We want to solve it. That's why somebody might come up and say, I have a problem. So most problems are solvable or improvable. Some aren't, but most are. There are opportunities to make some good happen. And so if you walk up to me and says, hey, Bob, I have a problem, I'm able to solve your problem, you're feeling good at your problem solved, and I'm feeling good I was able to help you solve that problem. They're challenges. They are challenges. Problems are challenges that make life interesting and hopefully sometimes fun. All right, do you agree with that statement? What's your assessment on what a problem is? So if you look at it from a different point of view, a problem is a challenge. It's an opportunity to do something and to solve something. And again, that's kind of what problem solvers are all about. So with that said, what's problem solving? So a good definition of problem solving that I found on the internet, once again, is an individual or collaborative process composed of two different skills. Let's just look at this. Very simple. To analyze a situation accurately and to make a good decision based on that analysis. That's problem solving. All right, we'll talk about this a little bit more. So, So as problem solvers, we as problem solvers analyze a situation accurately, and then we make a good decision based on that analysis. That's what we do as problem solvers. We analyze a situation accurately. That's, those four words, there's a lot there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if everybody could do it, I guess we'd all be millionaires. But for the most part, analyzing a situation accurately, that's a key point there. And we're going to teach you how to do that well, hopefully. And then we're going to teach you how to make good decisions based on that analysis. All right? So, as software developers who are problem solvers, this is what you're going to be doing. So, like in my very first video welcoming you to the course, I wanted you to know there's more to software development than just coding. We, as problem solvers, are going to analyze the situation accurately, and we're going to make a good decision based on that analysis. We want to do something that actually fixes a problem, that solves a problem. Sometimes software developers don't really do that. Maybe the problem is misdefined, or there really wasn't a problem to begin with, or the problem is not feasible. And then next thing you know, we're not solving the problem. The bad thing about that could be is that then we waste our time, and time sometimes equates to money, and that's never a good thing. Okay, you get it? That's what we are. That's who we are. That's what we're going to be doing. That is the field that you're choosing right now if you're in computer programming and database management. It's becoming a problem solver and as a software developer. All right. Been throwing this word around analysis quite a bit. All right. Obviously, the course is called Systems Analysis and Design. We talked about problem solving. If you go back a few things, we're going to analyze the situation accurately, okay? And we're going to make good decisions on analysis. So what's analysis mean? Analysis is the process of breaking a complex topic. And I don't think necessarily every topic has to be complex, but taking a topic or substance into smaller parts in order to gain a better understanding of it. So analysis is drilling down deeper, breaking things apart. Many of our courses, we teach you how to break things apart, keeping it down to its simplest form. That's what analysis is. In this case, taking the problem and breaking it down to a complete understanding. So, to analyze a situation accurately, we must break the topic into smaller parts to better understand. A really high level problem, world hunger. Everybody wants to solve world hunger, right? That's a problem. There are people in this world who are hungry. And it really makes no sense when we realize there's people in this country that are hungry. And that really makes no sense based upon a lot of the cases where there's so much food that goes to waste. That makes no sense. So that's a problem, right? There's people in this country, in this city, and I imagine in this school who go to bed at night hungry. It kills me to think that. So it doesn't have to be the world. So that's a problem. But there's reasons for that. And we got to figure out what those reasons are. We got to drill down deeper and analyze it. We just can't say we'll give everybody food. Okay, that might solve the problem temporarily, but long term, not so much. Or we just can't say put a bunch of food on a ship and send it over to some of the poor countries that where people are starving. And with that, I don't know they're getting the food. So there's more to this problem. That's when the analyzing takes place. We got to drill deeper into smaller parts to really try to understand the underlying problems of the overall problem. Does that make sense? I hope it does. We're going to practice it quite a bit here coming up in this course, but that's what that's what we're trying to accomplish, getting a little bit deeper. I introduced this concept of critical thinking because that's what we as software developers are. We think critically. We're always asking questions. And so that's what we want to be able to do. So critical thinking is the process of keenly analyzing and evaluating information. What's evaluating mean? Kind of getting the information, kind of looking at it, evaluating it, figure out if it's good, bad, it means something, or maybe it doesn't mean anything to us, doing away with, information that doesn't really pertain to the issue. So that's what evaluating is all about, and then possibly asking more questions. to draw conclusions in order to generate ideas on possible solutions. Another definition that I found: critical thinking is the process of examining, analyzing, questioning, and challenging situations, issues, and information of all kinds. I like that one a lot. Critical thinking is the process of examining, analyzing, questioning, and challenging situations. I want to throw one more verb in there just for you who are listening to this video. I think critical thinking is the process of examining, analyzing, questioning, and maybe it goes without saying, but listening. The key part sometimes in doing this type of work really well is listening, truly listening to see what's being said. Sometimes we're not very good listeners. In this field, and as in any kind of problem solvers out there, people must listen. I'm not quite sure some of our problem solvers in Washington, D.C. truly listen to us. So with that said, listening is key to this. Oops, sorry. So what is critical thinking? The elements of critical thinking are problem and goal identification. We want to, when you sit back and we say, what is the problem? We got to understand what the problem is. We just talked about that in detail. We need to understand what we want to get to. What is the goal? How do we know we're done? How do we know we solved the problem? In my example, really high level example, when everybody's fed, when everybody goes to bed at night with a belly full of food and are not in any kind of pain or malnourished in any way. That would be my goal, to solve hunger in this world. Wow, big goal, I know. Get the idea? We want to diagnose things. We want to sit back and we need to understand when we say diagnose, that's kind of what a doctor does, right? So you go in and say, hey, I have a pain in my stomach. Well, he needs to diagnose that. He needs to examine you and get detailed, ask some questions, maybe press around a little bit on your abdomen to try to figure out what hurts. And with that, coming to a diagnosis of what he feels could potentially be the problem. Based upon that, he does explore it a little bit deeper to make sure it is the problem, maybe through more tests and other things like that. So, a doctor's a problem solver, same thing, right? And so in this case, I walk in, my stomach hurts, got it. The goal is I don't want my stomach to hurt anymore. That's what the doctor's there for. He's trying to diagnose it based upon a lot of questioning and drilling down versus just saying, maybe you ate something bad. So you get it? Once we've basically done all that, we're going to take some action. Using my little doctor example, it could be surgery. If all of a sudden the right side of my stomach is what was in pain and my appendix became inflamed. That happened to me one time. That's why I brought it up. All right. So we're going to take some action. We're going to solve this thing. Maybe it's just some simple medicine. Maybe it's quit eating junk food. I don't know. Could be all kinds of things based upon why my stomach might be hurting or something. All right. And then based upon that, reflection. Let's go back to my little doctor example again. All right. So he takes my appendix out. Well, did I fix it? Oh, I would hope so at this point in time if my appendix is out, but you get the idea. We need to go back and a little bit of follow-up saying, are you fine? Did it work? Did we solve your problem? Okay. And if it didn't, we readdress it again until the problem is actually solved. Critical thinking. A lot of these terms kind of blend over each other, don't you think? Okay. I just kind of want to introduce some of these things out there. So, so you understand. So when we sit back and we talk about those elements, so what does it do? Well, it identifies any biases. I mean, a bias is a preconception, if you will, for lack of a better term. I think that's a pretty good term there. That we have a bias towards things. That's people are hungry because of their own well-doing. I don't know. That's really mean. I don't mean to say it like that, but you get the idea. People will put their own preconceptions, maybe based upon their environment, or maybe based upon what they were taught, or whatever, based upon social media, or based upon media anymore, 24/7 media. There's a lot of biases out there without really good knowledge. We want to identify those biases and remove them. In today's world of fake news everywhere, we don't know what's true and not true. As a critical thinker, our job is to figure out what is true and not have any assumptions. It's oriented toward the problem, issue, or situation being addressed. It gives you the whole picture. It brings in other necessary factors. The key point there, it gives you the whole picture. Make sure you all understand as you start diving into this course and diving into this career. Sometimes what is perceived, or when somebody walks up to you and say, I have this problem, there might be a lot more to it than that first statement. I have a problem, and here it is. You know, that when you drill down into it, there's reasons for those problems that you may never would have discovered unless you took the time to break things apart to really truly try to understand. Make sense? Wow, right? Didn't think programming was all about this, did you? It considers both the simplicity and the complexity of the object. I love that. I, it does consider both, but in essence, what we really need to do is keep it simple. No matter what you're doing in this field, or I think in life, keep it simple. Things don't need to be as complex as one thinks they need to be sometimes, or sometimes what we think they are. It gives you the most nearly accurate view of reality. It is the most likely to help you get the results you want. So again, let's go back to number 2 there. It gives you the most nearly accurate view of reality. What our goal is that we have a problem. World hunger, state hunger, country hunger, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Cincinnati state hunger. Okay? What's the reality of this problem? That's what we're trying to understand versus saying, oh, everybody's hungry, bring them food. That's not the solution, at least on the long term, correct? All right. So let's summarize all this. Kind of deep there, wasn't it? That's all right because at least I'm bringing up some of those situations because those are things you can relate to. All right. Everybody's heard these types of problems. Everybody knows of these problems out there. Okay. So I want you to relate to those a little bit early on in this course. And so then we can take those analogies, okay, and provide and blend them and compare them to solving problems in system development. Does that make sense? And so that's what our goal is early on in this course is to allow you to kind of think about just social problems and how you would address them, and then finally, maybe how. And then later on, we'll draw some analogies on how that pertains to solving problems for system development or software development. Okay, so we use and perfect through experience our critical thinking skills. These skills include deep analysis of many parts of the problem in order to best understand the problem, remove any assumptions on the problem, and come to possible solutions. That's what we try to do. So we identify the problem, and then we use our critical thinking skills to drill down into it. That is the definition of systems analysis and design. That's what this course is all about. Gives you chills, doesn't it?